WorldNet Daily's investigative reporter Jerome Corsi, who holds a PhD from Harvard and is the author of the #1 New York Times bestsellers The Obama Nation and Unfit for Command, reports that the U.S. State Department, in responding to a Freedom of Information Act request, has released passport records of Stanley Ann Dunham, President Obama's mother. But the records for the years surrounding Obama's 1961 birth are, wait for it, they are missing. The State Department claims a 1980s General Services Administration directive resulted in the destruction of many passport applications and other, quote, non-vital passport records, including Dunham's 1965 passport application and any other passports she may have applied for or held prior to 1965. How convenient. Destroyed, then, would also be any records shedding light on whether Dunham did or did not travel out of the country around the time of Barack Obama's birth. This claim, made in the Freedom of Information response letter that many passport records were destroyed during the 1980s, contradicts a statement on the State Department's website that Passport Services maintains U.S. passport records for passports issued from 1925 to the present. The released documents shed no light on proving or disproving whether Dunham might have held a passport prior to Barack Obama's birth that she could have used to travel to Kenya for his birth, as has been speculated in the absence of the release of Obama's long-form birth certification from Hawaii. But the records they did release contain 3 interesting tidbits of brand new information about Obama's mother, including, number 1, the very unusual listing of 2 different dates and locations for Dunham's marriage to Obama's Indonesian stepfather, Lolo Soetoro. Dunham listed March 5th, 1964 in Maui, Hawaii, as a date and place of her marriage, but she also listed March 15th, 1965 in Molokai, Hawaii. Number 2. Also, the records, interestingly, indicate that on April the 27th, 1981, Dunham applied from Jakarta, Indonesia, for a U.S. passport, indicating that she was in Indonesia working on a 2-year contract from the Ford Foundation from January 1981 through December 1982. At that time, Dunham was working on a microfinance program for the Ford Foundation, which was overseen by Peter Geithner, the father of Timothy Geithner, the current U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. When Obama was going to school in Los Angeles, he went with a Pakistani friend to visit his mother in Indonesia, who was working for Peter Geithner at the time. Then Obama spent a couple of weeks in Pakistan before he abruptly transferred to Columbia in New York, where Peter Geithner was headquartered. And third, and perhaps most surprising, the released records indicate that Barrack Hussein Obama has yet another name. In a 1968 application to renew her passport, Dunham listed as her son Barrack Hussein Obama, including in parentheses below the name Sebarka, in what appears to be a variation of an Indonesian surname not previously associated in any public record with the president. For some unexplained reason, the designation of Barrack Hussein Obama, Sebarka, is crossed off the 1968 application by 5 handwritten diagonal hash marks. And so the mystery of who really is sitting in the Oval Office continues, thanks to our own U.S. State Department.